Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. As you can see on my channel, I haven't posted a YouTube video in a while. At the beginning of the year, I acquired a lot of new gear and learned a lot about new video making techniques and everything. I had a high motivation in January and I posted a couple of videos. And then as we went into mid-February, my father-in-law started getting quite sick. He has lung cancer, and this cancer just entered its final stage. So I guess it somehow hit my morale because I have a very good relation with my father-in-law. And then the war in Ukraine started, and I'm quite a military history enthusiast, and I followed this war with much interest, but also, of course, like everybody, somehow much despair. Especially in this new age of social media, in which the war that you see is not only depicted through the colored lens eyes of war reporters, but also seen from a passerby's smartphone, and you can easily see very gruesome details about the war. Nonetheless, I got caught in that news cycle for a couple of weeks of watching the developments on the battlefield and on the political scene every day. And I got distracted. And somehow in February and March, I didn't have that much will to carry out new projects. We had a quick trip to Jingu for a couple of days. I shot some footage. I got some footage and lots of pictures that I still have to edit, and I will make a video out of that trip because we discovered a lot of interesting things. But here I am, you know, in nature, nothing is left undone, and now we come to the end of March, and this is the early spring season. It started pretty late this year, and we're not having great weather. Actually, it's still a bit cloudy these days, which means that today is only our second day of tea producing. My father-in-law is still very ill, and he is in his final days of life. And if you have never seen someone die from cancer, well, I can tell you that it's not like I imagined. Because when you think of cancer, you more think of some analysis paper, you know, like they show in the movie, and then the actor will cough some blood, and then he has cancer and everything. But the details of how you live this world through cancer are quite gruesome, quite hard to stand. And this is why, even more so than other years, it's good to be back behind the wok, because when I'm doing this work behind the wok, I need to be focused on the leaves, on the steam, on the sounds. I need to touch the leaves and, you see, manage this moisture that's coming out of the leaves. And when I'm doing this, I can somehow escape the harsh reality of this world. Because indeed, the world is full of suffering. Some philosophers go as far as saying that the world is, the reality is only suffering, and that all the happiness you can find is just a temporary illusion because you're somehow on drugs. And in those harsh times, I would tend to agree with such philosophers. The world indeed is a grim place, and being behind this walk is just 20 minutes of escape. And so today I would like to talk about tea, how tea can help you in hard times. And I think when you're sat at your tea table, well, it's just like me being behind this walk, actually. It's a time for you that allows you to escape this world. And of course, I think particularly in the Western culture, we don't really like escaping something, turning your eyes away from reality is maybe not very supported, not like a good behavior. You should see the reality as it is. And yet, from research, it seems that only truly depressed people really assess the reality accurately. We all have, like, non-depressed people are supposed to have an optimistic bias. Just like, for example, this idea of the war in Ukraine, despite some analysts saying that troops were massing at the border and everything, most people would say it's not going to happen. It's unbelievable, it's impossible to happen. And yet it did. And this optimistic bias, of course, helps us go through life. Usually they say that the pessimists will be right in the end, but the optimists will have lived a happier life. So which one do you choose? And this train of thought leads me to a famous movie scene. That scene in The Matrix, where Morpheus presents Neo with two pills, a blue pill and a red pill. So to put back some context, if you haven't seen the movie, basically Morpheus comes from nowhere and meets Neo, who's the hero of the movie, and tells him that he's been lied all his life, that the world he lives in is not the reality. It's a virtual world that's been designed to maybe make his life more comfortable. And at this point, if he takes the blue pill, he will come back to that virtual world and he will go on with his life. If he takes the red pill, he will find the true nature of this world. He will find the reality. Of course, as the audience, as the spectator, we want the hero to choose the red pill, and that's what he does. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any movie. And yet, it's very ironic because we're wishing the hero to take the red pill, but actually we're watching this movie on a black screen, on a TV or on a computer, and by doing this, we're definitely having a blue pill while doing that. When we're watching that movie, we watch this movie in order to escape reality. So it's quite ironic that we wish the hero to see the true reality, actually. But of course, we wouldn't want really a movie where he chooses the blue pill. Now, if you were presented with this choice, what would you do? Would you take the red pill or the blue pill? And it seems at a first thought, like maybe if you'd asked me that a month or 2 months ago, I would say definitely the red pill. I want to know the truth. And it's often the starting point of any scientist or philosopher. It's to know the truth. And yet, if you think about it, how can you trust this guy? Actually, this guy could be a drug dealer. You know, he's like, take my red pill, it's called LSD, and you take it and you're going to enter a new world, and you're going to find out that the world you lived in before was not the true world. So the problem is, how do you know when you take this pill, that how do you know you can trust this guy? How do you know that he knows this is really the real reality? Maybe your current world is the real reality, and the one in after you have the pill is just a virtual world. Or maybe they are just different realities, and none of them is superior to the other. I would also tend to think that even if you're very grounded on this earth, as humans, as conscious beings, we don't really live in the reality like animals do. We have a lot of fictions, you know, like money, like the idea of a country. For example, now we know Ukraine is at war, but what does Ukraine and Russia mean? These borders, due to us knowing that we're at war, we have some physical conflicts in the real world, but you couldn't have animals do this, because it requires to call in a lot of different fictions. This idea of fighting for your countries, or going to another country and taking up arms and organizing on the battlefield, things like that. And I guess maybe if you're living through happy times, you're actually closer to an animal, in the way that when you're happy, you don't really need to think about these things. You don't need to study philosophy or even to acquire more knowledge, because you can just live in the moment and enjoy your raw feelings, you could say. And you'll meet this kind of people who are very happy in a life that they feel they don't really need to explore. And when you present them with some philosophical questions, they will say, you think too much, you know, just live your life and be happy. And this is usually very hard to hear for unhappy people. But anyway, all this digression on the nature of reality and how we as humans, as conscious subjects, we perceive reality, was just to illustrate that a tea session, just like a chatting session, is also a kind of fiction that can allow us to live through hard times. At this moment, a couple of cities in Ukraine are under siege, and I can imagine that some civilians are stuck there, and maybe for them drinking tea can be a way to escape for a time their grim reality. You just need fire, water, and the tea leaves. And so whether you're in besieged cities, or whether you're in prison, or whether you're deeply depressed and cannot leave your home, I think you can find something in the tea that can help you. And it doesn't have to be very good tea. I think following a routine actually helps you. I like to spread the word of high quality tea and everything, and yet most people in the world will only drink tea bags or very cheap tea. But they like this tea because they've been drinking it since they were children. And if you look at what people drink, for example, in China, outside of a couple of provinces where you have many enthusiasts, most people will just drink the tea from their hometown. And this is also true for the rest of the world. Actually, I could say it's easier to develop the high quality tea culture in places which have no particular traditional tea culture, like the United States, because there's a blank page. People have no preconception on tea and no habits, no routines formed from drinking tea. So there you can introduce them to Gongfu brewing, for example, and they will make that a routine that they will build up over the years. But drinking tea could just be having those high afternoon tea, British style, and inviting your friends for gossiping, or just having some North African mint tea, or some more sub-Saharan boiled green tea. Okay, you have many ways, or some Indian chai. What matters is just to have this routine, and this routine can carry you through your happy days just like it can carry you through your unhappy days. Actually, following that routine might help you keep that connection when you're unhappy, can help you escape for some time and maybe somehow evoke some nostalgia and remind you of your happy times. So I think this is how tea can really help you. This is a fiction, the tea ceremony, that can help you escape your grim reality. It doesn't sound like a very commercial argument. I think I should do better as a marketing guy, because it sounds a bit depressing, but that's the result of a couple of days of thinking. Well, maybe because we are living through a hard time now. This is just how I see reality. And if I wasn't going through a hard time, I think I just wouldn't need to try to describe how reality is. I would just live. And so, yeah, that's for the philosophical part. Now, just regarding the tea season, so we haven't made that much tea yet, but we have some black tea, white tea, which is still on the rack there. The black tea, we made two different, one unsuccessful batch because we had too strong a rolling, and two successful batches at different degrees of oxidation, and they are pretty good. We only tried them today. They only dried by noon today. And we have a couple of batches of pu'er tea. I will make these available in the next couple of days on the website, because I think it's important for you to try that fresh tea. Actually, it's, even though because of the shipping delays maybe it will already be aged when you receive it, but I think you, as a tea explorer, you need to get that opportunity of trying fairly young tea. And I want to adjust slightly my shotching technique, at least for a couple of batches. I will cook the tea slightly less thoroughly this year. And actually, saying that reminds me that I should actually stop the shotching now, because if it was last year, I would keep it for maybe 3 minutes more, but no, I just feel it's enough. I'm gonna try my shotching maybe 3 minutes shorter than last year and see what it does, and just maybe cut down a bit on the steaming. I want to keep some steaming, but maybe not as much as last year's. And I'm gonna try that with a couple of batches and make a pressing out of it, so you can have a look. It's pretty very good gushu material that we have from today from Tapingzang. Only 3 walks, so it's quite a light evening, and then I'm gonna go attend to my father-in-law. So thanks for watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon. See you later. Bye bye.